this morning. We're going to get into all of that detail. What has been said? Is it the same as what's happened before? Is this just a bit of smoke and Ten Hag is going to see his way out of this? We talked last night about how things might change if Manchester United won the next 2 games. Well, the talk from last night into this morning is it doesn't really matter. Loads to talk about, loads of your comments to come in as well. Get into the live chat right now. First of all, please make sure you've given the video a like. That is the code for getting into the chat, so please give that video a like, this video even, a like. We're not finished it yet. Subscribe to Forever United TV, and please hit that bell notification button. Also, while you're at it, how are you? Good morning. Hello, everyone. It is Tuesday morning. By the way, it's still raining. It's not stopped raining from me walking out of Old Trafford in the doom and gloom of that game against Spurs on Sunday to this morning now, Tuesday morning. We're actually in October. Happy October, everybody. The weather's getting worse. The storm clouds are forming over Old Trafford. Virtually and physically, it would seem. Old Trafford looks like a run-down, beaten football ground at the moment. And Manchester United are trying their best to keep this club relevant and actually keep United at the top. But you can see at the bottom of your screen there, everybody, the table doesn't lie. And United dropped another place last night. It's getting more and more embarrassing as the days go by. It really is. If United don't get a result against Porto and we're languishing in that bottom half, not even in the playoff qualification, which is the top 24 of that Europa League standings, out of that, 13th in the Premier League is getting a bit much. It's getting a little bit too much right now. Get your comments flying in, everybody. Let's get into the news and what's actually happening. I'm going to read the reports on what's actually going on with the club right now. It's an interesting one for you all to start with, though. We put this up onto the Forever United TV Twitter feed yesterday. Bang on the money. Absolutely bang on the money. By the way, if you're not following us on Twitter, make sure that you do. Drop in the description. The link is there. Forever United TV. You can't miss us. We've just got this channel started. We've just got this page started, really. So get onto that as well so you can see all of the updates coming, all the little bits of news that we might be talking about throughout the day as well in the show. So get onto that. But from Wesley Sneijder, this pretty much sums up every single Manchester United fan I was speaking to after the game. I'm just going to read through what he says. So this is Wesley Sneijder, word for word, and what he said to the European lad and talking in Dutch TV yesterday. We now read reports. This is the week of truth for Erik Ten Hag. What's this all about? Question mark. What if he draws versus Porto and accidentally beats Aston Villa? That would fix everything for them? Question mark. What's this policy? So this club is already working on maybe appointing a new manager, but at the same time, these 2 results can change everything? Question mark again. Is he not saying everything that every single Manchester United fan is thinking right now? It is what's going through everyone's minds. What is the point? And like I said at the top of the show, it doesn't matter what happens. I've got a poll up in the chat right now. You tell me what you think United are going to get from the next 2 games under Ten Hag. 2 wins, 2 defeats, 2 draws, a win and a defeat, a win and a draw. What is coming this week for Ten Hag? It doesn't matter. He's gone. The club cannot live past what's happened already this season. Whatever happens in the Europa League, whatever happens, and I have been a big advocate, and I've said this all along, and I'll hold my hand up and take the L on this one. I've said I think Ten Hag would see the season out many a times. Even I didn't think it would get to this level, which is why everybody who is wondering why it feels like it's the end now and why we're not having any more patience, it is just that bad. It is just that bad right now. You only have to watch what we did against Spurs at weekend. Listen to what Ten Hag says in the press conferences, in the post-match interviews, the build-up to these games. There's nothing inspiring at all. The reason that Ten Hag is going after this week is because Manchester United are sat 13th in the table again. I say again, I can't even remember if we got to that stage last. We didn't get there last season. Obviously, we were at our heads were sort of above water, which is 10th in the league. God, if United actually won that game against Aston Villa at weekend, this is how bad it is. We still wouldn't be in the top half of the table after 7 games. So let that sink in, and then you'll understand why all these reports are coming out right now. Look, there's loads of conversations going on about whose fault it is. The players have to hold their hands up as well. Yeah, they do, but how often are we going to just say Are we going to see these world-class players coming out? I say world-class in the likes of Casemiro in past tense. I understand right now he's looking a forlorn figure. And again, if you watched the tactical breakdown last night that we did on Big Up Our Watch-Along platform, I pinpointed 2 mistakes for 2 of the goals for Casemiro again, and he only played half a game of football. So there is a lot to go. There is a lot that people didn't pick up from the weekend as well, because of the avalanche of just negativity on top of Manchester United right now, brought upon by themselves, by the manager, by the performances. And I keep saying it. If you're wondering why it's all doom and gloom and it's all going to end this week no matter what the results are, just look at the tables. Just look at the situation we're in. Look at who's ahead of us in the league table after 6 games. You can argue all you want about it being early on in the season, but 6 games tells you a lot with who United have played and the performances that we've put out this season. And the players are feeling it. The players are talking now as well, which is what we want to talk about in this show as well. But just talk to me in the chat. I'm going to come to the chat quickly right now because I want to give you guys your chance as well on this one. From what Wesley Sneijder has said, just get your comments in now. I'm going to read through what you're all saying from a certain point here in the chat to bring you in. But just pinpoint that Wesley Sneijder one and get into the chat and let me know. Are we all thinking on the same wavelength here? Is Wesley Sneijder just saying exactly what every Manchester United fan has got in their heads right now? What is this? What are these 2 games going to prove? Is this now what Manchester United are? If Ineos are looking to keep them standards up and keep Manchester United up there where we belong to be, then that cannot be the case. We cannot be living like this as Manchester United. We really can't. I think that's what Sneijder is actually saying in this. It's like, what difference will these games make? I think they just want to get through to the international break. I don't actually feel right now that many people at Manchester United, no matter what reports are saying and what Romano said last night, which is complete garbage in my opinion, I don't think they really care. I think there's a lot of people at United right now have seen the end of Ten Hag. It just feels that way, doesn't it? It just feels like no one now has got any sort of sympathy for him. It's time. Thomas says, why wait? Get rid of him now. He won't win any of the next 2 games. Dill says, Erik Ten Hag gave it away when he said the team wasn't ready before the season even began. We should have expected this. That's poor. That is really poor. We shortened the tour. The games and the travelling wasn't as bad. We had plenty of preparation time. Nobody was ready for the season because everybody had players out in the international tournaments in the Copa America or the Euros. Everybody was the same. Manchester United probably had more players sat at home because they weren't good enough for the start of the season than any other player, any other team in the league. So there's zero excuse for Ten Hag on every single level right now. There's nothing there for him at all to fall back on. Injuries have gone. Players that he wanted in, that argument has gone. He's backed. The coaching staff backed. Everything is there for Ten Hag to make this. So there's no excuse for a poor start either. Players are good and strong team and a strong team, but Erik Ten Hag is the problem, says Amir. I actually got an 11 selection bet builder correct last night on Bournemouth versus Southampton, 32-1. Ooh, I bet that paid out well. I bet that paid out very well, actually. Simon says they want a coach / a puppet next so that would make Potter and Southgate favourites, which is a very depressing thought. Apparently, as you can see going across the bottom of your screen, the Muppeteers were talking last night, and they say that Potter isn't even in the reckoning for the job at Manchester United. Now, to be honest, I would take Potter over Southgate any day of the week if it was between them two. Obviously, I don't want it to be, but if you were just to back me into a corner and say, who would you rather have? Would you rather have Potter or Gareth Southgate as the next Manchester United manager? I would jump all over Potter. I don't want Southgate anywhere near this Manchester United team. I just don't think he is, again, like Ten Hag, inspirational enough. I think you need a better character. You need someone who these players can relate to on the training ground. That is it. Tactics, vision, philosophy, system. They're the words that need to be coming to mind when it comes to picking this next man in charge of Manchester United. It's as simple as that. We need a system in place that suits the players that we've got. That's something that Ten Hag has got dramatically wrong while his time at Manchester United. And the proof is in leaks that have come out, and not just the leaks that we're going to talk about in a minute, but the likes of Rashford saying his goal output was down to dropping deeper because United didn't have an actual left-back last season in Luke Shaw being missing. Well, it's the same left-back now in Diogo Dalot, and no one was mentioning his drop-off in form when he bagged 3 in 2 games only 2 weeks ago. Casemiro has come out again. He looks like a complete lost soul. When you've got a senior figure like Casemiro coming out and saying what he is, and the way that he acts, and Ten Hag did for it. I don't care what anybody says. Ten Hag threw Casemiro under the bus against Spurs at weekend. He threw him under the bus. It's like, this is failing right now. We are down to 10 men. We are losing. Go out there and make a difference against a absolute vibrant, fit, physical, strong, speedy midfield in what Spurs had out on the pitch yesterday. Ten Hag knew that Casemiro would not stand a chance in that game at weekend. And like I said, he was at fault for 2 of the goals. Go watch it back. First one from the corner from the flick on. He loses his man easily as he comes from behind him. And then in the second goal itself, he basically, I won't say he bottled it, but he definitely shirks a bit of a tackle with Kulusevski at that crucial point where it breaks down in the middle of the park, and then Brennan Johnson's away. Casemiro looks lost under this manager, and their big signs is to say, look, things are not right. These players are not believing in. And Casemiro, I can tell you for nothing, because I've interviewed players. I've interviewed Diogo Dalot. I've interviewed Antony. I've had the privilege and I've had the opportunity to do this. And I'm not just saying that to big up or anything like that, but I asked very relevant questions. And you all seen when I was speaking with Christian Eriksen, I like to know how the players feel. And the questions that I continuously ask these players, and especially the South American Portuguese players, the younger ones like Antony and Dalot, even Bruno Fernandes, when I spoke to Bruno Fernandes, there was always one man that stood out as a father figure and the sort of leader within that group of players at Manchester United. And everyone loves him on the training ground. And I've seen it up close and personal. I've seen Casemiro laughing and joking, and I mean fits of laughter, with Marcus Rashford on the training ground. Casemiro is the main man. Casemiro is a leader, and when your leader is being put down by the manager, and I don't care if you are one of these types of people, or say a player, for instance, or you used to play the game, it's such, so you get put on that pitch, you get on with it. You cannot tell me that them players are not recognising what's going on with Casemiro and Erik Ten Hag right now. I'm not having anything about being told that there isn't an issue there. You don't bring Casemiro into that game at weekend. You just don't. It doesn't work in any way, Casemiro coming on. How are you going to make things better with Casemiro coming on? He hauled him off against Liverpool. He didn't start him for 4 straight games simply because he opened his mouth, and The Athletic, in Andy Mitten was talking about it on Talk of the Devils on The Athletics podcast. And then he throws him in for his first appearance. Come on. Seriously, when the chips are down and you're down to 10 men, you've lost the captain, you're losing at Old Trafford, everyone's playing crap. Go on, Cass, there you go. Go and be a leader again. Complete and utter joke, in my opinion. And it's bad man management. It really is. I don't think Ten Hag has got any man management skills whatsoever. Sooner or later, United will find the right man to run this team. They will. Inevitably, they will. And like I was saying last night with Flex and KG, Sophie and Saeed on the View and Owen, it was basically that this whole myth of you cannot break the cycle, you have to break the cycle, you cannot keep sacking and employing new managers. Well, yes, you can. You've got to find the right person. If that person isn't working for you, you don't ignore the issue that's right in front of you because you don't want to be seen to be that sacking football club. You keep making decisions and important decisions because it's a massive football club, because you want to get it right. You have to go through a load of crap to get to the cream. That's the problem that United have had in the past. And I'm hoping that Ineos stand by their hard hand and make a very, very big decision. It's not actually even a big decision. It may cost them a little bit of money to get rid of Ten Hag, but it'll damn what save a lot of money in the long term of this season in terms of where Manchester United actually finish and what competitions we actually go to the end of, because this team, I'm telling you now, this team is good enough to compete. I'm still not having any of this crap that this team isn't good enough. And this is the team. I've gone off a tiny little bit there. I'm sorry. I do apologise. I'll come back to the comments in a minute because I want to get into the players section as well. There are reports this team are now giving up. And like I brought in the Casemiro incident there, just to pinpoint where I feel that this issue starts. I'm not saying it's all Casemiro. I do believe that Christian Eriksen is comfortable in opening his mouth and talking about issues within the changing room because he's gone this summer. I think Casemiro knows he's also gone and wants out. There are lots of players. Like, why is Harry Maguire not coming out and saying anything? Do you know what I mean? I know it's because he's not been playing and he's not been put up in front of the cameras and things like that, but where were the senior players against FC Twente? Where was Bruno Fernandes? Where was Harry Maguire? Both played in that game. Why is it Christian Eriksen being thrown under the camera and the spotlight? I want to see Harry Maguire. I want to see these long-stayed, even Marcus Rashford. Where are these players when the chips are down? What's going on? We want to hear from them players. We want to hear from the senior players at this football club as to what's going wrong at Manchester United and their thoughts on it. Not players that are leaving in the summer in Christian Eriksen. And you know what? Massive amounts of respect for Christian Eriksen and how honest he was in them interviews. And then look, Christian Eriksen, who has been United's best player over the last 4 games. Yes, I said it. I didn't think he warranted that place in the side. I don't know why he went in there, but he proved me wrong and a lot of United fans wrong in saying, improving that in his performances on the pitch, that he belonged there. And then Christian Eriksen comes out and says something in an interview after FC Twente, having kept United in the game with an absolute belter of a goal. Yes, he made a mistake, but he held his hands up to that in the interview as well. And all of a sudden, this is when you drop him. When you need someone to put a foot on the ball and actually control a game and not give it away like we did against Spurs. And how many passes did United just pass out of play or just pass to a Spurs player? Then Christian Eriksen is dropped for this game. Again, are you seeing the cycle? Open your mouth and you're out of the door. Will Christian Eriksen start against Porto this week? I don't know. But there's a trend going on with Ten Hag, I feel here. And he's losing players. He's running out of players. It's as simple as that. And I think he's lost some key ones in that changing room. Casemiro being number one. Just my opinion from what I've seen, from what I've felt, and when I've spoken to players and how important certain players are within this squad. If you're isolating someone, you've got to pick that person you isolate. You know, he's making enemies, I think, Ten Hag right now, and it's clear to see on the pitch because no one's listening to what he's saying. And in the Daily Mail today, you only have to read the reports. Chris Wheeler is talking about it. He says some Manchester United players were surprised that Erik Ten Hag was not sacked in the summer. There is another report from Chris Wyatt who says Erik Ten Hag still has the backing of Manchester United, but his potential sacking is being discussed openly by the players. Again, players, leaks coming out that the players are talking again. Look, these players know a lot of contacts within the media, and it's just the modern world, unfortunately. It's definitely the norm around Manchester United right now. You either get rid of certain players, which we all know who they are, I'm not even going to go into detail on them, to stop this happening, which no manager has done, and you clear to me who them players actually are, because they're still here, and they're the ones that have been seeing out manager after manager after manager. You can see where the problems are. If you're a newish sort of player, you get thrown under the bus. You get completely thrown under the bus. And this falls into the category of Christian Eriksen and Casemiro again. Players that Ten Hag has brought in, he has got no issue with slaughtering within the media. What is it with the other players that have been there at the football club for so long that Ten Hag seems to be struggling with in how he handles them, or why he treats them differently? Yeah, you could say that there may be things in the contracts of these players and so on and so forth, but still, you've got to just look at it and go, right now, it seems to be one rule for one and one rule for another. And Ten Hag is losing control of the changing room, and he will be gone after this week. If he's not, I'll be absolutely flabbergasted. I don't care what happens against Porto in terms of results and positive results in terms of Ten Hag. As a fan, I'll be absolutely buzzing if we beat Porto and Aston Villa. I'll be a normal fan supporting, but I know deep down that the problem is going to come again. Everybody knows this now. The cycle of Ten Hag results has always been the same. Luckily enough, there were a few teams that weren't on the right sort of level they should have been in his first season. We took advantage, even though we had a similar sort of output in terms of results. We managed to get that new manager bounce enough to get points on the board, I feel. And we didn't manage to capitalise on that. And I'll go back to it again. Like, that's proof that this team has got it in them. So what's Ten Hag done to deter these players so much? Why is Jadon Sancho smashing it at Chelsea? But what is it with this environment at United? Is it just not a happy place? Did they just put on the Disney faces for us at Carrington the other day? Everyone looking happy and everyone enjoying their work at United? Look, the reports coming out from the Daily Mail are there. And they're going to be coming out from many different sources as well, not just the Daily Mail. I've seen a few tabloids with the same reports. The players don't believe in Ten Hag. They feel like his time is up. I do believe that his time is up, Ten Hag. And everybody can see it. Let's get into the comments and see what everyone is saying. Painful watch, Spurs United, seen more fight from Southampton. From Gareth. Genius here says, Adam, if this weekend's results go against us, we could be 15th in the league. I don't even want to think about it, but you are right. It's bad enough being 13th. We're closer to the relegation zone than we are the top 4. That's all you need. To the top 5, actually. I said yesterday that Man United is 6 points away from top 4. We're actually 6 points away from the Europa League top 5 place. So let that sink in. And let that fester and just simmer there a little bit. That's where United are at. Is that acceptable? God's sake, no, people, it's not. It really isn't. Sorry, bringing up your chat again now. I lost it for a second. I have entered a period where I think it's best to not have any expectations. The only thing consistent the inconsistencies. Sigh. Can they just get it over with? Eric Ten Hag must leave. Director of Football says, if you rotate, you have to swap player A for player B for the same position. Eric Ten Hag doesn't rotate. He keeps his favourites on the pitch and only makes changes to cover up his lack of fair rotation. Yep, that is something actually that is in there as well. Craig, who has just renewed his membership, thank you very much. Would you take Eddie Howe? I'd take Eddie Howe over Eric Ten Hag. Yes, I would. After what I watched at weekends, Newcastle competing with Manchester City, having spent hardly anything this summer, with a pretty much same team apart from Tonali coming back into it, Isaac missing as well, and Botman missing in that side, and still more than competed because of the setup and the system that Eddie Howe implemented. They went toe-to-toe with City and looked comfortable doing it with not spending anything. And this is a team that was, a couple of points ahead of us last season in the finish. Manchester United spend over 200 million, completely shaking things down, giving new backroom staff, changing the full structure, and get worse. Why? Why are we getting worse? There is only one person you can say is different, is still the same. And I'm not even going to mention his name. Do you back Faz and Said calling out the Goldfish? Says Glenn. Look, they've got their own problems, and you all know where I stand with things. I'm not getting involved in anything myself. But thanks for the super chat. I take Eddie the Eagle over Ten Hag, says Boxing Straight Talk. Players changed, owners changed, staff changed, Ten Hag the same. Blame players. Yup, that makes sense. No matter what manager, have never been a fighting spirit from this team. Look, these players work hard. I'm not having it that these players don't try. They do try. We question the quality. The players are trying. They're putting in the hours. You can see the effort in there. It's wasted effort. There's no direction to it. So we cannot keep saying that the players don't care and the players don't try. The players do. They do. They put the miles in. They are working hard. I'm seeing Garnacho running about. I'm seeing everybody on that pitch putting in the yards, but effort gets you where? Effort gets you nowhere when you're expected to add quality to it. The quality of these players is being wasted. There is a system here, and there is a manager strong enough out there, or a coach out there strong enough to drop the right players, to rotate the right way, like the comment was from Director of Football, to play the right system and play to the strengths of these players. We don't research opposition. We cannot do. Otherwise, what happened at the start of the game and at the start of the second half against Spurs wouldn't have happened. Brennan Johnson, just quickly bring this up again, who went off social media and has turned his life around completely and is playing fantastic for Spurs. Are you not picking up on this momentum that this player's got? No, you're not. Are you not picking up on the new system that Ange Postecoglou is playing in putting Kulusevski just next to Brennan Johnson in another 8, a double 8 with Maddison? Are you not looking at that? Are you not looking at previous games? How Spurs beat a team in the Europa League with 10 men the other night, playing a full game with 10 men? Are you not looking at that? No, you can't be, because you're playing Dalot on that side and Rashford on that side, isolating Marcus Rashford, who doesn't track back anyway, by inverting Dalot when you've actually got 2 midfielders in there who have actually got legs in Agate and Kobbie Mainoo. Overrun on the flanks. It's honestly, whichever way you look at it, the preparation for the games is an excuse for this manager. The injuries are an excuse. Time's an excuse. Young players being brought in is an excuse. What's the point in bringing in younger players when you're just going to throw them under the bus like you do? You're not installing any confidence in any one of these players right now. And I can totally understand why players are coming out and leaking this information like they're not happy. We've talked about every single problem over the last few weeks that these stories are actually talking about in the tabloids this morning on this show. As if Casemiro is going to have any respect for Southgate if that's who they get. He even dropped Rashford, so I wouldn't expect any improvement from him if Southgate comes in. Casemiro's gone at the end of the season. We're just talking about the here and now and how he's lost the... I think he's lost the respect in the changing room for how certain players are being treated, probably more than anything. I think that's what it is. I do. I don't think it's a case... I don't think necessarily it's a case now that... it's the quality of Casemiro. We know there's a decline there anyway. He's getting old. So really, it's about keeping that spirit up and keeping everyone on side within that changing room. And I just think he's lost him. I do think he's lost him. Please give the video a like, everybody. We're creeping up to that 200 mark. It's bright and early on October the 1st. Happy October, everybody. Well over 1,000 people in the room watching with us this morning. Creeping up to 200 likes. Get them likes in. Make sure you've also hit that subscribe button as well, everyone. Into the chat we go more. And Welsh Red says, Ahmad has been one of the best players this season, yet he takes him off all the time he starts. Yeah, there is a pecking order for Ten Hag, and a lot of people have picked up on that as well. Who starts, who comes off, who doesn't come off, who never gets dropped for the start of a game or just rotated like a lot of people have picked up on. Everybody knows the list now. It's clear. And I think the players know the list and the players are getting pissed off with it. If you're Ahmad, how are you getting inspired by Ten Hag? Garnacho the same. I think Garnacho is putting absolutely everything he possibly can in. But how long before we end up finishing Garnacho? We have to get a manager in that is going to find and use and utilise every single bit of quality that's in this team and squad, because it's there. It is there. I won't even have confidence in Ten Hag getting the best out of this squad if the pressure was off with certain players on the sideline trying to get in this side, i.e. like the Lindelof, the Maguires, the old guard, the Casemiros, the Ericssons, all of these players. Johnny Evans, I'm not saying Johnny Evans is an issue, by the way, far from it, but he's just part of a group that's going to be gone this summer. So there's like 5 or 6 first-team players that are definitely going to be gone. Are you confident that Ten Hag can still balance this out with them gone and not the pressure of trying to find spaces for them and bringing in better players? I don't trust him with the younger players coming through either. I really don't. I'm just seeing the deterioration of players and the regression of players right now. I mean, Kobbie Mainoo has had a shocking start to the season, and it's for everyone to see. And now all of a sudden, Kobbie Mainoo pulls up with a hamstring injury in that game against Spurs, which went under the radar as well. So it is starting to get worse and gradually worse and worse and worse and worse. Nothing is working right now for him. Pull the bleeding plug. Kaz says, I genuinely think the board know he's done and we are waiting for the international break. I agree with that one. Jamie says, how ain't leaving rich Newcastle to go to broke United? United could spend more than Manchester United, so that comment is pretty much way off the mark there, to be honest. Newcastle can't spend money. United actually can spend more money than probably any other club in these transfer windows because of what we've actually got and what we turn over. So money isn't a problem for managers. What effort does Rashford put in when he loses the ball? He never tracks back. Give me examples where he did. He does it pointlessly at times, and that's when you pull the player off the pitch. If he's not part of the team in terms of the message and the system you want to play and what you want that team to do, i.e. track back when you lose the ball. I mean, you've seen the feeble attempt after he overrun the ball against Van der Ven. He basically just let Van der Ven run away with it. He didn't slide in or anything like that to try and block his pathway or stop any bit of momentum. You just put yourself in the way. Take the hit. Nah, you can't do that. Rudevish says, players are at fault, but I don't understand people are blaming everything on players and regime to save Erik Ten Hag. There are only a handful of players from the old regime. Rude will motivate the Dutch players, surely. I'd have thought they'd motivated them now, Babs, to be honest. I really would have thought they would have seen a bit of change with Ruud van Nistelrooy being in there, but it's just not there, is it? Sadly. All the injuries were down to lack of shape, causing defence to constantly stretch and sprint non-stop. Rory C says Rashford has not entered a 50-50 in like 5 years. No, he hasn't. Etc. says I really do not want to watch United. Word to flex a new Adam on the red carpet stream. Thank you for that, mate, or anyone who did watch that. Thank you for all the comments off my TalkSport video as well that went out from weekend as well. I got loads of great feedback off that, just for being honest and just saying it as it is, like speaking what a lot of Manchester United fans have got on their mind right now, which is like the demise of this football club and not standing for it. Let's check out the poll and see where we're at. What are you expecting from the next two Ten Hag games? We've got 2 wins, 2 defeats, 2 draws, and 1 defeat, 1 win. We could have had 1 defeat, 1 loss, 1 defeat, 1 draw, but 1 win, 1 defeat. 46% of you, of over 800 people that have voted, please keep them votes coming in, have said that we're going to get 2 defeats. So almost half of the poll, so that's nearly 400 people within the actual chat right now, feel like Manchester United will lose both games to Porto and to Aston Villa. I think we'll scrape a draw against Porto and then we'll lose to Aston Villa. I just don't see how we stop Villa. They are a team flying right now. Yes, they had a little bit of a hiccup against Ipswich, but still, I feel like with United playing on Thursday, they're going to be knackered. Obviously, less recovery time. That'll be used as an excuse. Of course it will. And Villa obviously also playing, but playing earlier in the week. I think they'll be more prepared for it. I think if it was an even keel and both teams went into it with exactly the same preparation time, Villa would still be more prepared than Manchester United. We just never look ready. We never look ready for any game. Hi Adam, your opinion on Inzaghi being linked to the job. Which one manager would you like to see if Ten Hag is sacked? I would throw absolutely everything at Julian Nagelsmann. I'd say manage Germany and manage Man United. Just be a coach. We don't want anything else from you. Make the statement. Come be a coach. Get on this training ground and get something out of these players, because he will get something out of these players. Do the 2 jobs. People have said to me, look, I think Flex said to me yesterday in a private conversation, he said, surely it's Man United. You need to have 1 job. I don't think any of us want to go down that road. I think they just need a coach that can get the best out of these players at Carrington. And Julian Nagelsmann can do that, I feel. Inzaghi, yes, I think he is. I think he's a manager that would inspire as well. I think he's got that reputation. He's got that record. He's been there. He's won everything. I think he would demand respect. And I think he has got that firm hand that a lot of these players need. But you need a manager to come in that has experience dealing with these types of players, I think, as well. A bit of both. I think Nagelsmann, in being at Bayern, in doing what he did in a multi-club setup in the Red Bull Group, and knowing how football structures work and pathways for younger players, I just look at the young talent coming through and I want a man that I know can get the most out of it. Julian Nagelsmann has won the German Under-9 Premier League. He's done that already at Hoffenheim, I think it was he was at. Then RB Leipzig took him on and he worked with the Red Bull Group in the process and pathway to bringing players through, players being sold. He knows how a dual club ownership model works. He's perfect for me for Manchester United. I would do everything in our power to convince that man to come into Manchester United because he's worked under structures like this. And I know he's at Germany. Even if you said to me, look, I can't see it because I know he'll want to manage Germany in the 2026 World Cup. I would love it just to be Ruud van Nistelrooy interim and then Nagelsmann coming in at some point. That would be my ideal scenario. I understand the only reason I'm bringing in the Germany dual management side of things and doing the international and the club side of things. I think Ineos need to look at this differently. We need to approach it differently. We need not just a manager that's going to take everything on his shoulders like Ten Hag and other managers have done. Look, right now the structure's there to just go to Nagelsmann and say, look, coach this team. Coach them. This is a new age right now. We need to do something different because bringing in these so-called managers and letting them have all of the say is not working. Someone needs to tell the man in charge what players he's having and what style of football you want. Like, it has to be clear. You have to pick the right man. And that's the sort of dilemma I see in like convincing a man to come in that is going to be told it has to be this way. You're going to get these sorts of players. Nagelsmann's done it. Which is why he didn't fit in at Bayern Munich, I don't think. I think the setup of what the Red Bull Group had was better for Nagelsmann. I think he works better with younger players. Yeah, the bad experience at Bayern Munich, but let's not forget, Bayern Munich owned up to making a mistake there and tried to get him back, and he turned them down again. He's a sensible man and a very, very good tactician, and I think manager there in Nagelsmann, and I would be pulling heaven and earth to try and get him through the door at United. That would be my personal choice, just to answer that question. Bring in an English manager who knows the English players and the youth structure. Southgate is that man. That message popped out right there, then in front of me. Almac says, why would the German national coach quit his job and coach United? Like I said, mate, because United convinced him to, and he could probably do both jobs. I think he can. I really do. I think the international manager setup is overrated. I feel like he can do both. And I think United are in a position where they can actually do most of the work that's needed around the club and just let this guy coach this team. That's what it needs. The players just need someone to believe in what message is being portrayed and what system is put in front of them. I think the next man in charge just needs to be that man-managing, tactical sort of manager that plays a certain way that can inspire players in just how he sets his teams up. I don't think Ten Hag inspires anyone with how he sets his team up. I don't think Southgate does. I don't think a lot of the managers that are being spoken about do. Inzaghi, I feel, yeah, that would be a fit for United. I do think that one would work well for us. But still, you've got to try and get him convinced that this structure is right for him. And that's the conundrum. I'm not saying this is the ideal world. I'm not saying that I'm right in who I think should come in as Manchester United manager. I'm far from it. I just feel like the difficult part of it is convincing, and it sounds stupid, convincing someone to come and manage or coach Man United. It should be everyone queuing up to try and get into Carrington and be in charge of this football club. But not. No, it's not. And this is the problem that we're having right now because of all of the politics and everything that's going on. And I do understand that. If the players believe in the manager's concepts, they will be flying. Yep. Like Emery at Villa, like Maresca at Chelsea right now, like Ariola even at Bournemouth, who are ahead of us in the league, Thomas Frank at Brentford. There's a reason why these clubs do succeed, because they believe in the man at the top. The message that's coming from that dugout, it goes straight into the players' heads. It works, and the players work on the pitch. There has to be a connection, and that connection gone. Everything that we spoke about in the show, the issue with Casemiro and everything around this football club is there for everyone to see for me. I'd rather have Ranić back and let him slash up the squad, says Dukes of Hazzard. That pretty much finishes the show. More content coming up later. I'm out and about later on as well, filming even more content for you guys. So we're mixing it up completely. Make sure that you give this video a like first of all, and make sure that you have subscribed as well to Forever United TV to make sure you miss out on none of the free content coming up. Bell notification button is also important, so you don't miss out on that content. So that is it for this morning, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. Back live in the morning. Happy October, everybody. The weather's not nice. We need cheering up on the pitch, I think. Can this team do it? On the Ten Hag, I say no. I say no. But, hey, look, 2 games it seems like are left. 2 more games for us to endure. And then Ineos need to get down to making a serious decision. Thank you, mods and members, for helping out in the chat. Everybody with your comments today, absolutely loved it. Hello, new members. Hello, new subscribers. Welcome to Forever United TV. That was your morning show. I'll see you all later on.